But I wanted to cover just a couple of quick issues, if we got some time, with respect to the coronavirus. A couple of stories here I don't know if you saw. One that resonated with some listeners over the weekend is what Eric Clapton reported about his experience with getting the vaccine. Now, he took the AstraZeneca vaccine, one that we don't see a lot of here in the U.S., and said he had major side effects. After the first shot, it was 10 days of side effects. For some reason that I frankly don't understand, he went ahead and got the second shot, and he says that he had a disastrous reaction to the second shot, that his hands and feet were either frozen, numb, or burning, and pretty much useless for 2 weeks. He feared he would never be able to play guitar again, and he says, I never should have gone near the needle. But the propaganda said the vaccine was safe for everyone. He says, I've been a rebel all my life against tyranny and arrogant authority, which is all we've got now. So that's Eric Clapton's take on it. You see other stories. I mean, someone sent me a video of somebody, I think it was in Brazil, passing out after getting the vaccine. But we've got this story out of India where there's an Indian health ambassador who said, you got to get the vaccine. Everybody's got to get it. He went on TV. He was a comedian, used to be a comedian. Vivek was his name. And he went on TV in late April live to get the show. Well, of course, as you might expect, 2 days later, he shows up at the hospital completely unconscious and unresponsive, had major cardiac arrest, 59 years old, acute coronary syndrome with cardiogenic shock, and 100% blockage of his blood vessel. And he died, and one would expect that it might have had something to do with that coronavirus vaccine shot that he got 2 days prior. And that sort of makes you wonder. Now, we had some clips. I don't think we can get to all of them, but there's one I wanted to play, and we'll call this the This Is Your President segment because this is appropriate. Here's Joe Biden's take on getting the vaccine. And we told you this was coming. We told you they were going to try to quickly shift the narrative because all the mask mandates are being lifted. The masks are coming off. People are coming back to normal life, coming back to work. And we said, watch them. They're going to shift the narrative as quickly as they can to try and say you can only do that if you've been vaccinated because they're trying, and they talked about this. They're trying to talk people into vaccines. So here's our well-spoken president giving his take on it. You got to listen to this.
It's vaxxed or masked. Get vaccinated.
It's vaxxed or masks, according to Joe Biden.
He's reading a prompter, possibly.
Yeah. Well, I think what he was trying to say is vaxxed or masked, but instead he said it's vaxxed or masked. You know, the guy doesn't think for himself; he just reads the teleprompter. But did you know that right about half of all the employees of the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, and the National Institute for Allergies and Infectious Diseases, approximately half of the employees of those three organizations have to date refused or declined to get the vaccine.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
How is that even possible? I mean, we heard that in congressional testimony here. Richard Burr asked the question. We'll see if we can run this clip for you. I don't know if we've got time, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Question, I'm going to go to Dr. Fauci, Dr. Marks, and Dr. Lewinsky. What percentage of the employees in your institute, your center, or your agency of your employees has been vaccinated?
Now, you got to wait a minute while Dr. Fauci takes off his mask, which he puts on in between questions.
You know, I'm not 100% sure, Senator, but I think it's probably a little bit more than half, probably around 60%.
A little bit more than half have been vaccinated.
I can't tell you the exact number, but it's probably in the same range. Some people vaccinated at our facility and others at outside of.
That's Dr. Parks of the FDA.
We're encouraging our employees to get vaccinated. We've been doing town halls and education seminars. Our staff have the option to report their vaccination status, but as you understand, the federal government is not requiring it, so we do not know.
Dr. Rochelle Walensky dodged the question. Won't answer. Well, let's assume that her numbers are either where those other guys' numbers are or worse, or otherwise she would have answered the question if it was good for her. Had another interview you ought to go out there and watch. This is worth seeing. ABC this week. where Dr. Walensky is interviewed by Martha Raddatz and talks about the science of masking that's just developed. Remember, follow the science. Science can't be wrong. Now, allegedly, the science has just developed in the last 2 weeks. And interestingly, she says, essentially, as they're running this max vaccine experiment, she doesn't put it in quite those terms, but if you listen carefully, that's the import of what she's saying. Had one more story from Harvey Risch, Dr. Harvey Risch out of Yale, we didn't get to this week. Hopefully we'll circle back and get to that next week, but potentially, like Jen Psaki, we will never circle back with you at all because the stories just keep coming. Thanks for joining us, folks. I'm Morgan Streetman, and that's the way I see it. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.